What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest here on the very first live stream of 2026? Well, official live stream because on Monday I had my podcast pregame. Sounds a little hot, does it? My podcast pregame. And yes, my guy Bio, much appreciate you as always, my man. Always representing one of my day ones. Much appreciate you. And yes, it is. Let's pull it up right here. It is January the 7th. To think already a week has gone by. This time last week, I was running up Manhattan to try to get to the northern part of the borough without my battery expiring. And funny enough, let me see, 12:01. I think I finished around 12:29, I think it was. So I pretty much at this point, I may have either timed out or had said sayonara until I completed this run. But that was then. That was last year when you think about it. And now here we are already 7 days in. Time is flying. Time is marching on. I tell you, it is unforgiving how time has zero you-know-whats when it comes to what it is that we try to do on a day-in, day-out basis. That's why we got to try to go for it. That's why we got to try to go for hours. That's why we have to do what we can to extract as much juice. Cheers. I'll talk about what this is in a minute. Extract as much juice from the fruit as a metaphor for life, because if we don't, we're not going to live that fulfilled life. We're just going to be here to exist and not live. So that's my little soliloquy to start us off here. January the 7th, 2026. In fact, a couple of things that I want to share. I'll start off with this. Share your thoughts in the chat room. For my regulars, you already know. I see a few chats there, which I'll get to in a moment. Those watching on the replay, although for those who have or have not watched on a replay, I haven't seen any comments. So that's quite all right. But just in case, if you're rewatching this and you have something to say, something to get off your chest, or something you want to debate me with, just please leave a comment and I'll be more than happy to follow up. But this will tie in because my next thing, of course, I want to thank you guys. I'm approaching slowly but surely 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And that is a milestone that I'm hoping to get here within the next few weeks. And for those who already have subscribed, of course, you know how much I appreciate you guys. I know I profusely thank you, and I have to. I mean, that's just me. That's just my nature. I'm not going to take you guys and gals for granted to know that just because you've subscribed and you hear that, yeah, they'll keep coming back. Oh, yeah, I'll see Bio. I'll see J-Rod. I'll see Fishing Angel. I'll see Val B. I'll see Brent. I'll see Zip Drive. I'll see Tatsuya, Cow, Everyday Mets, Jonathan, the Chips, whatever it was, Chips and Salsa. I know I'm teasing it. If you're already on Tatsuya. Yeah, I could say that and think that you guys and gals will keep coming back. But, as I've said before and I say again, you guys are my CEO. I got to make sure that not only do I show up for you guys and gals, I got to also show out. I got to make sure that I represent. And I'm hurting a little bit today because I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I was in and out. My dog got sick and was pooping all over the place. So, yeah, that was some tough sledding. And she's actually beneath me sitting at my feet here at my little sports desk. But with all that being said, yes, I want to thank you. We're kicking off 2026 the right way. And I got a lot of stuff that's cooking here over the course of not only just these next few days, weeks, etc., but obviously for the months and the rest of this year to come. And I'm going to unpack some things as we move it along, hopefully as we get toward the end of the month and early next month, and also with an anniversary that's now less than 2 months away, which will be on a Sunday. And I understand Sundays could be tricky, but we'll temper that between now and then to see time frame. I'm still looking for a venue. I have one in mind that I would love to host, and maybe for those who live in the New York area want to come down and represent. And you can see for those in the camera, whether it be Tatsuya or even Zip Drive for that matter, James D. Just those two to mention. And yeah, this is it, man. I got to go all out and then some. If I haven't gone all out last year or the years prior, this is it. Because I want to make this live stream, the podcast, yours truly, to go into a stratosphere unknown. And I'm ready for it. I mean, think about this. A month from today will be 2 years from my first day outside of corporate America. 2 years. Where's it gone? And yes, we could touch on it then. We still have another month to go, but it's mind-boggling to think. Going back to what I said at the very start of this live stream as far as how time flies and how it doesn't have doesn't care about what you did yesterday. It's certainly not caring about what you do tomorrow because it's not here. So that's why we have to make sure we corral, grasp, and really hold tight to these moments that we have, especially with you guys and gals here. As I see, we're now up to 12 people in the chat here, or not in the chat, but dozen people up here on the live stream, and I appreciate you all. If this is your first time, welcome aboard. And to my day ones and my day hundreds, day whatever it may be, I welcome you guys and gals back as always, so you know how that goes. But yes, approaching 1,000 subscribers. So for those, if this is your first time here through YouTube or even on Twitch for that matter, I'm also on Twitch, also through the Facebook stream. I'm also thinking about branching out to TikTok. I do have a TikTok account too, but I got to get it out there. I've been concentrating on this platform for the longest time, and I know I got to branch out to really expose yours truly, etc., or what it is that I do. But it goes without saying how much I appreciate your support. And let's get it. Let's get cracking. One other thing I want to say too, as far as content goes, it's already edited. I haven't posted it on my channel just yet, but I do have, today's an anniversary of sorts for yours truly. And I'll preface it by saying this. I'd say around 3 o'clock, we'll say, because once I'm done here, eat, take it easy a little bit, but I'll post the latest vlog, which is personal, but it's a sports-related one, where 37 years ago today, I met one of my favorite athletes of all time. And in the process, I have something that I cherish that's near and dear to me. I should have actually brought it. It's at my in-laws' house. But I had met former Detroit Red Wing, also Chicago Blackhawk, Bob Probert, a guy that from 1985 to, I believe, 2002, 17 years in the league, was the most feared player of his generation and was one that I've always loved from the time that he came up in 85. His first ever fight was against Craig Cox, Vancouver Canucks. Now, I understand I'm dating myself, and I'm sure that people are like, who the hell's Bob Probert? I couldn't even pick him out of a lineup. Well, you're going to know who he is a little bit later as I'll post my latest vlog about that. I'd say about 3 o'clock. It's a little over 11 minutes, about 12 minutes. I had some clips in there, jazzed it up a little bit with some music. So you'll definitely get a kick out of that because on this day I met him in 1989, January 7th. So I wanted to pay tribute to him. Not only that, my experience with him and also experience with some other people that I met. True story, where just 8 days later, we took a trip to Philly and met Bob Probert again. So you got to tune in, and you're going to see a lot of that type of content, especially this month, because also, to tip my hand, I'm going to do a 4-part series of a vlog, considering, speaking of anniversaries, this is the 20th anniversary, which I can't even wrap my head around that, of the Steeler Super Bowl 40 run. So I'm calling it a father, a son, and the Steelers Super Bowl 40 run because it ties in with my dad and how we watched that whole postseason run together. And mind you, without getting further in the weeds, because you'll see on the vlog, I hadn't had a lot of time that I spent with my dad as far as watching sports. And I've had some moments where, you know, we've gone to ball games and we even played softball together at one point. This was when I was actually, let me see, that was 1984. I was 15 years old. He played on the softball team. And without getting deep in the weeds on this, but it was a moment during that run that was totally unexpected. I did not see it coming. And my father's still around today, so shout out to you, Pop, if you're watching. And he does watch the channel, so maybe he is watching live. So shout out to you, Pops, if you're watching. I love you. So I thought it'd be cool, considering it is the 20th anniversary, considering that it was a pretty meaningful run as far as the Steelers getting to and winning a Super Bowl for the first time since the 79 season, and being the lifelong Steeler fan that I am. Yeah, I think you'll get a kick out of it as we'll go through this 4-part. Obviously, they played the 4 games that postseason in Cincinnati, in Indianapolis, which was just mind-blowing considering the Colts were dominant and everybody thought the Colts were going to go to the Super Bowl, and we saw what happened there. And then the following week in Denver, and then they played the Super Bowl in Detroit. Jerome Bettis, as we all know, is homecoming, final game, etc. And the Steelers winning Super Bowl 40 over the Seahawks 21-10. And I get it with some controversy with the holding calls and all that, but I'll unpack all that as well as the podcast, as well as the live stream. So I got all that coming down the pike here as we're moving along. Let me see what we got here with the comments. Let's get started here on that. Of course, Val, who I'm sure is licking his wounds. Sharks won yesterday, but there was a big fight in that game yesterday, which Ryan Reeves, longtime enforcer, and it's ironic because here I'm talking about Bob Probert, enforcer of the Red Wings, and now we talk hockey here for a second. The Sharks have an enforcer, Ryan Reeves. He's bounced around everywhere. St. Louis Blues, Minnesota Wild, Rangers, Toronto. Now he's on San Jose. And he got into a fight last night with Matthew Olivier, Columbus Blue Jackets, who arguably is the best fighter in the league. And last night he even showed that. And Reeves, I get he's 38 years old. He's been in the league a long time. But, man, he throws rights as if he's ready to kill somebody. And for that fight, it was a quick fight. Reeves' helmet comes off, and he's one of the last few players in the NHL. I don't know if anybody knows this, but he's one of the last few players in the NHL that has the rule grandfathered in where he doesn't have to wear a visor. And I know Matt Martin, who was on the Islanders last year, was one of the handful of players. They may be now in the single digits of players that are in the league that do not wear a visor, and he is one of them. And Olivier is a guy that obviously from the time he came into the league, they already had put forth the rule that everybody must, of course, not only wear a helmet. There was times where players didn't wear helmets. When I was watching hockey, in fact, in the 80s when Bob Probert came up, there were players who didn't wear helmets. Brad Marsh was one off the top of my head, Philadelphia Flyer defenseman, and there may be a couple of others. Let me think. Barry Beck was still in the league, Rangers. He was another one. But anyway, Olivier won this fight last night, and pretty convincingly, and a lot of people from the threads that I have read with the hockey fights and things of that nature, how Olivier now, he's the guy. And he has been the guy for a while. I don't know if you remember the fight 2 years ago when he fought Matt Rempe, the enforcer on the Rangers. He's 6'7", and boy, Olivier put it on him. Maybe I should bring that up. By the way, this is orange juice, pineapple juice, pomelo, which is kind of like a grapefruit, I believe. Carrot, ginger, pineapple. Yeah, it is a smorgasbord of citrus fruit. So, and also vegetable. And I need this in the worst way today because I had no sleep last night. So I don't drink coffee. I'm not a coffee guy. So, and for those who do or do not know, I usually fast. I don't eat until 12. And I had water this morning. But yeah, that sucker's going to go right into the system and give me that extra boost that I need because, boy, today is the day that I need it. So that is look at that. Starting off with hockey here, getting nostalgic, talking about, and then Val bringing up the Sharks yesterday, beating Columbus, Bucks and Warriors. And the Warriors are going through something, which I'll talk about later on. And not to unpack the Draymond thing, but I mean, I don't know, Val. Your team is certainly hurting. And the Sharks, yes, they do. And this team, I believe, started off 0-5-2, if I'm not mistaken. So they've really turned it around. So you got to give it up. Yes, you are, Val, and I appreciate that. 1,000%. 49ers, Eagles. We'll talk about the wild card weekend. 1,000%. And yes, we have to get you to 10. 10 and beyond, Zip. Without question. It'd be nice to get the silver plaque, which is 100,000. But listen, I am miles away from that, which is perfectly fine. But hopefully that'll be the case as we move it along here. But let me tell you something. I've had an increase of subscribers here over the last month and change. I believe I was in the 700s before December 1st. And now here I am at like 954, I think was last check. So, yeah, I'm here for it. I'm not going anywhere. So as long as I continue to do this, I'm just hoping that more people will gain traction. It'll pick up, and then next thing you know, we'll take off, and away we go. So, Zip, and I appreciate your support big time. Toppers, what is happening? If the Bills don't win, McDermott has to go. Well, if he wins in Jacksonville and then the following week goes to Denver, which we would think because the 7 seed, because the Bills are the 6 seed, the 7-seeded Chargers, I don't know if they're going to beat New England. I'd be shocked because they don't have, their offensive line is shot. Herbert is nursing that, what does he have, that bad hand? Does he have a broken left hand? Excuse me, there's a Juice answering. So, yeah, when they talk about the Chargers, I don't think they're going to come out of that game alive. But as far as if Buffalo does win, they'll go to Denver. If they go to Denver and lose a close game, I don't think he's going to get fired. It depends on what he does there, Toppers. Now, if he loses in Jacksonville, Sunday, and let's say they lose, I don't know, 28-10. I don't know if he'll get fired, but yeah, that's certainly not a good look. And I understand it's all on him, and even James Cook for that matter, because they need a big-time wide receiver in the worst way, as you all know. But I don't know if he'll go. If they lose a close game in Jacksonville, why would they fire him? I'd be a little bit surprised. Good to hear, Val. All right. I was actually curious about that because I know you mentioned that last week during my crazy run up Manhattan. Bio, yes. That's my guy, man. He's one of a handful of my favorite athletes of all time. Exactly. He was a monster. In fact, I'm hoping, and I talk about it on the vlog, you'll see it later on. I won't tip my hand. Unless you guys twist my arm. So let's, yes, thank you, Val. I appreciate that. The novice, my man. Playoff football's here, college semifinals, great weekend. And here's the thing. From tomorrow night, think about this. Tomorrow night to Monday night, you have 8 football games. So you literally have football, count them, 5 straight days. I don't know what I'm going to do. My wife is going to look at me like, hey, listen, you're not watching every minute of all these games. I said, well, college is the semifinals, and it's back-to-back nights. I get it. That's rough. The playoffs on Saturday, the 2 games. Saturday is the day where I actually am going to be out and about early, but I should be back to watch the 4:30 game and the 8 o'clock game. I'll probably watch part of that before because my wife's going to be running around all day. And I know it's going to be a crappy day here in the Northeast. Although the weather today, it feels like almost spring. It's 47 degrees, I think it is. And tomorrow, I think it's supposed to even maybe touch 50, considering that it's been cold. It hasn't been brutally cold. I mean, I'm not living in Michigan like my guy or our guy, we could say, J-Rod and Fishing Angel, or even Brent north of the border in Ontario. But today, walk outside, I got a jacket on. Please, I can just use a hoodie. That's how mild it is. But as far as this weekend, I don't know what I'm going to do. Sunday, to me, the game I want to see Sunday, Buffalo, Jacksonville, I got to tap in on. San Francisco, Philly as well. New England and the Chargers, maybe I can hold off on that one. Of course, Monday night. I mean, I'm watching every snap of that. And I'll do another live stream Monday night. So I'll put out the link and all that as we get to the weekend. And I'll start plugging in on my socials, etc. Of course, here on YouTube. And yeah, all those clips that I got that I posted on the YouTube channel were successful to the point where I think that's why I got even a ton of subscribers here just from yesterday. I mean, it was a significant jump from that. And I put out shorts that I had numbers that I've never even seen before. Usually, if I get a short, a real good one, it will generate whatever, 2,500 views or 3,000. I got into the teens. One was 12,000, one was like 15,000. So let's see if the game's gonna produce any type of drama that it did there on Sunday night. This coming Monday, then who knows? Maybe I'll hit the mother load again, and we'll get closer to 1,000 and beyond. So we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, the football is going to be on and popping, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. I want to go through the rest of your comments here. My guy, Cal. John fires after ATC's Baltimore. So the Giants or Jets hire John. Well, I don't think the Jets, despite the fact that Aaron Glenn had a nightmare of a first season, and they were embarrassing down the stretch, I don't think they're going to release him. If that was the case, they would have done so already. Giants, I believe he's going in for an interview from what I read, if not today, tomorrow. So, and he's going to be bouncing around. I'm sure he's going to go to all of the vacant openings, whether that's in Las Vegas for the Raiders, Arizona. I believe that he probably has a date with both of those. And how interesting would it be if he signs with the Raiders? Because think about this, he'll see his brother twice a year in the AFC West. So those will be games that obviously will be scrutinized when the brothers will square off. And we've already seen that movie before, if you recall, back in Super Bowl, what was that, 46? No, 47. 46 was the Giants Super Bowl, the second one against the Patriots. So although we've seen that before, but that would be one that the media and people will latch onto to see the Harbaugh Bowl twice a year there in the AFC West. But I would think the Giants, and I talked about this a little bit on the channel earlier. I put it up on one of my shorts. He's a guy that, from what I've seen, and obviously playing in the same division and watching him at least twice a year, he's going to bring instant credibility. He's a guy that obviously has a resume, but I'd really question, to me, he's too much of a player's coach. And what I mean by that, especially when it comes to the NFL, I don't want to say he's Aaron Boone like he is the Yankees, where he's always apologizing for his players. He never holds his team accountable, etc. Harbaugh's kind of like that. But the only reason why I don't compare him to Aaron Boone is because Aaron Boone hasn't won a World Series, where Harbaugh at least has won a Super Bowl. But as far as Harbaugh goes, that's the one thing that I would really be worried about, that the players will go through a wall for him. But I could see where, if you're a fan of his, or if you're a Raven fan that has followed and watched Harbaugh over the years, you've seen in big spots him not deliver. And I understand you can say, well, what about the Super Bowl year, Jay Reels? First of all, that was what, 13 years ago? Number one, that's similar to Tomlin when he won his Super Bowl, which was now going to be 17 years. So, although you can't take that away from him, but it's not as if you won a Super Bowl within the last 5 years. So for Harbaugh, the one game that really stuck out with me was the AFC Championship game 2 years ago against Kansas City in his building, because that team was imploding. Personal fouls, unsportsmanlike conducts, especially on the defense. Zay Flowers, the fumble, I understand it's not his fault, but then Lamar throws that pick after the Zay Flowers fumble in the end zone into double coverage, I might add. And what does Lamar Jackson do before he even gets off the field? He's throwing his helmet off, and then you see John Harbaugh with that stupid look on the sidelines, that glazed look. Instead of saying, hey, pulling him by the shoulder pads, by the collar, to say, Lamar, we got to regroup. Forget about it. Let's see if we get another shot here. And of course, at that point, they didn't get another shot. If you remember, that's when I think it was the 3rd and 10 where Mahomes floated that pass to Marquez Valdes-Scantling in the middle of the field, where they caught the ball and iced the game at that point. But Harbaugh in that game, and I get it was 2 years ago, people are going to say, oh, come on, Jay Reels. But Harbaugh's had a bunch of these moments where they flamed out with double-digit leads. 2 weeks ago against New England, they're up 24-13 in the fourth quarter, and the opening game against the Bills on that Sunday night, they had a double-digit lead. I think they were up by 11. And I was like, 2 minutes to go. How did they lose that game? And they had Derrick Henry, and I understand there was some issue. Henry fumbled the ball, which was big in that game late, where it turned the ball over, and I think that's when they got the touchdown to, or maybe it was 15. It wasn't 11. They were down by 15, I believe, the Bills, and they came back and won the game. I mean, I believe it was about 2.5 minutes to go. So here's a situation where Harbaugh is going to come on board, and you're going to love to hire, and I'm sure he's going to be reinvigorated. Listen, just to think that field goal went wide right, Harbaugh would still have a job, and maybe Tomlin's on his way out. But obviously that's not the case. So now with Harbaugh, maybe it was time for him to go. I get it. When you're in a place for that long, things become stale. The message doesn't come across the same way, the philosophy, etc. And despite the fact that Lamar Jackson was out for what, 4 or 5 games this year, and they were 1-5, and they came back to they were 6-6. Then they had a shot to win a division there on literally the final play of the regular season, and he didn't do it. And therefore, it cost him his job. So all I'll say is, I think the Giants should hire him. Either he or someone like Mike McCarthy. I think the Giants will probably be better going after McCarthy than Harbaugh, because McCarthy's been out of the game for a year. McCarthy's a guy that is an offensive mind. I'm sure he'll do a lot with Jackson Dart. Remember, those 3 years in Dallas, I understand he didn't win anything, but he was 12-5 in those 3 years, and Dak Prescott was in the running for an MVP, and I get it that, well, big whoop, he was in the running, he didn't win an MVP, etc., but he did play well under McCarthy, and you would think that if Jackson Dart is going to be a guy that's going to come in to be under the watchful eye of McCarthy, I think he would flourish. I think he would do well. So, and I understand he's a guy that McCarthy, he's from the Northeast, from Pittsburgh, and a guy that knows his way around the league, obviously won a Super Bowl there in Green Bay. To me, that'd be the safe hire. But I don't know which direction John Mara is going to go here. I would think he's not going to want to go with the young guy. He's been there, done that. He's not going with the Joe Judges of the world. And no. He shouldn't even think about that. And I understand he went through the rehash or the recycle coach, Pat Shermer, i.e., but I would think McCarthy again. That would be a safe landing spot. And considering that he's been away from the game for a year, he's had a time to reset, refocus. Where Harbaugh, I mean, the guy just got fired. And what are you going to do? You're going to hire him in 5 minutes, which he's going to get a job anyway if that's what he wishes to do. And I would think he wants to get back on the beam. But I don't know. If the Giants want to hire Harbaugh, I think it would still be a good hire. But maybe McCarthy, I don't know how you feel about that, Cal. I think would probably be the way to go, if you ask me. I'm not what I eat. You and me both. No sleep last night. Oh, man, I know. It was rough. Yeah, my dog was just, for those who have dogs out there, she's 3 years old. I'm sure you've seen her before. Where is she? Oh, she's actually back there. I could turn the camera there, but I have it like set perfectly. So I love her to pieces. I do. But last night, I don't feed the dog. I mean, I feed the dog what the dog needs to be fed. But I don't feed it human food. I don't feed it scraps. No. I'm not that guy. Unfortunately, my wife is one that feeds Kismet, whatever. And I shouldn't say whatever, but it's not as if she's feeding Fritos to our dog. But yeah, had something last night, and I'm sure it didn't agree with her. And next thing you know, right before we went to bed, she, decided, we got to throw a pee pad down, but it was more than that. And then I believe at 3 a.m, got me up. 5 a.m, got me up. And at that point, I went back to bed, but I had to get up because I had to finish editing the project that I was talking about earlier. And then about 6:45, I was already up. So yeah, right now the juice is doing me good. And of course, I'm pumped and ready to go here. But yeah, that was just brutal. So I feel you. I am not what I eat. So that's what you got. Do you got a plaque at 10K? Actually, it's 100,000. Yeah, I got to get to 100,000. So that's why I got to start with 1,000. The good thing about 1,000 is that, and I got to check my watch hours. My watch hours have increased a lot because once I get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours on my channel over the last year, I can start monetizing, which, let me tell you something. I've been anticipating here from the time that I left corporate America to where I'm sitting at now, almost 2 years later. So, and I believe, let me see, upon last check, I think I shut off my phone. Yeah, I did, because I didn't want any interference. Where am I? I saw this morning, 9:54. I put up a couple of shorts there today. And let's see, just so you could see. Oh, look at that. Just so you could see. Can you see that? No, out of focus. Out of focus. Nah, I got to go back. All right, so 9:55. So I'm 45 away. I'm sure you could trust me on that. 45 from the magic number 1,000. And then at that point, I can start to monetize. So, yeah, the hard work is paying off, people. But obviously, the little engine that could's got to still keep going down that track. Right now, it's still on the local, but it's picking up steam. Once I get on an express track and things really start to take off, that's why I'm hoping to put this content up. And I understand it's more niche for the Steeler fan, but it's for an NFL fan, but it's also the father and son, so it's a family thing. That hopefully will put it to where the algorithm will understand, and maybe if the Steelers have a deep postseason run here, maybe because they're relevant, that it'll take off. So we'll see. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Fishing Angel, good afternoon. I don't know if you know, but I'm drinking an orange pineapple, carrot, ginger, pomelo, and I'm missing one. Orange, pineapple. It's a whole concoction. And it's certainly doing me good. You know what this would be good? Oh, if I had some vodka. Actually, I reached out to can I share this with you guys and gals? I reached out to this spirit company. And what the hell, I'll say it. Give them a plug. And I'm not paid by them by any means, but I'm trying to see what I could do. It's called Rum Haven. They have a rum, but it's made with real coconut water. So yeah, it's not natural flavorings or made with coconut flavor, which is obviously garbage because anything you see natural flavor, it's all chemicals. You don't want that in any of your foods, but certainly in a spirit, you don't want that. And I get it. You can say, J. Rose, why don't you just put regular coconut water in it? All right, well, okay, fine. But the thing about this particular spirit is that it's smooth as hell. You can take it as a shot. You can drink it straight. And I tell you, Rum Haven, if you're not familiar with it, maybe you can find it at your local liquor store. So I've reached out to them, and I had to fill out this whole questionnaire, and they asked me, why do I want to be sponsored by them, et cetera. So I said all the right things. So I'm hoping. Rum Haven, come on, you got to give your boy a shot. And I'll be a perfect shill, considering that with what it is that I do, why not? Because your boy's trying to get some, forget about partnerships. I have a few partnerships. I need some sponsorships. I need somebody to say, here you go, J. Reels, here's 10 grand. Or you know what, we'll pay you $2 grand a month over the course of the next year just to plug our brand. Sign me up. Let's go. That's what I want. Warrior Steve Kerr got ejected last night. Yeah, I know. Steve Kerr, there's something going on over there. Loving the room. Love it. Oh, went good. Yes, talking about that. Great news. Yes. I know who you are. You don't know who I am. You know who I am? I don't. Okay. Let me see. You got what is that? Like a Christmas tree? Oh, no. It looks like buds. Oh, wait a minute. I may know who this is. I may. Val says, yep. Happy New Year's, everyone. Yes. Happy New Year's to everybody out there as well. All right, here we go. He missed it short as a classic. Yeah. Yeah, I tell you, that was, if you didn't watch the other night or on the channel, thanks to my guy Sean at liveonassist.com. That's where I got the clip. That's the site that is trying to be the Twitch for the sports fan. And of course, I tie that into my YouTube. You can watch the game on YouTube, but I also have it on Live on Assist because it has the score on the bottom, it has the time of the game, etc. But thanks to them, because I wouldn't have gotten that clip. I could have gotten the clip here through the YouTube feed, but the thing is, on the platform that is the conduit to get to YouTube, because I have to use a particular platform where you see all the graphics, I can only take clips 2 hours at a time. So if I record up to 2 hours, and here's a little tidbit, that's why I try to stop my live stream at 2 o'clock. If it goes past, it goes past. No big whoop. But in that 2 hour time frame, I'll get a bunch of clips. And obviously the game was well over 3 hours. So thanks to liveonassist.com, that's where I got the clip. And it was crazy because I had to push the table aside where I had the laptop on and the microphone. And when he missed it, I had to got up and ran into the kitchen. I mean, I was a lunatic at that point. So yes, thank you, Zip. I appreciate that. Drea Texan, great performance with your mama. Amazing in the RV. It was rock. Oh, nice. Yeah, woke all the neighbors up. Oh, all right. I appreciate that, Drea Texan. That's good stuff. Oh, look at this. Hot tub time. All right, hey. Pretty funny. Ay. All right, you're always going to get something like that. But you know what? I appreciate it. If you subscribe, then even better. Which if probably didn't. I know you're just here to try to wrinkle or rustle my feathers, but not going to happen there, Dre. But good try. Fish game. My New Year's was good. Besides getting news that my uncle. Oh no. Fishing Angel, I'm sorry to hear that. That's awful news. On New Year's too? Jeez, man. That's my condolences, sincerest condolences to you, your family, etc. That's anytime something like that happens. Oh man. I don't know what to say. Your thoughts on the U.S. Patent Office denying the ACE trademark application? I mean, come on. No, seriously? Cal, you hit it around the head. Yeah, because something with Vegas, and athletics, it's similar to the Utah hockey team before they became the Mammoth. They wanted to use the Utah Yeti, but they couldn't get the trademark because of the Yeti coolers and the Stanley Cups, or what I know that's a brand too. But all the Yeti stuff that you see from them, so they couldn't get the trademark. That's why they became the Mammoth. And the same thing here. I mean, they can't change the name. I mean, think about it. That team goes back to the Philadelphia A's. Philadelphia to Kansas City to Oakland, Sacramento, and what? Las Vegas, they can't get the, I guess you could call them the A's, but what are going to be A's is short for? Of course, you could think of an expletive right now, but come on. Seriously? This team's been the Athletics for a million generations. And all of a sudden, you're just going to, oh, no, we can't. Yeah, Cal, I'm with you on that. To me, that's just terrible. Allegedly, a team with a coach still reached out too. Oh, is that right? Allegedly. Oh, I wonder who that was. Let me see. Had a guess. Allegedly, a team with a coach. Well, it's funny because, the first team that came to mind now that I think about it, the Knicks. Because, the Knicks, they fired Thibodeau, and then they're trying to reach out to the T-Wolves to interview their coach. They try to reach out to Jason Kidd in Dallas to interview him. They try to, and there was another guy too that they reached out to. I can't recall. But yeah. So I guess there was a team out there that had a coach and said, you know what, hey, would you mind coming in for an interview? Yeah, it's pretty shady. All right, what you got, Val? I didn't watch the Ravens-Steelers game since the power in California. Oh, it did? Oh, geez. Perfect. 8:20 Monday night. I will be on. And I'll have dinner already done. You won't have to, because that day was crazy. Sunday, I was just, I was all over the place. Thank you, Val. You know that. I appreciate your support. Thank you. John will be Jim's DC. John will be Jim's day. Well, here's the thing. John Harbaugh was a special teams coach. I guess he could be the defensive coordinator. And I don't know, maybe out of respect, I don't know if Jim would even ask John to be a part of the staff and vice versa. Because imagine John says, hey, you know what? I don't want to coach this year. I'll be a part of your staff. Because then you're going to have John, and not to say that the Spanos are going to fire Jim, that John, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I could see that happening, though. But Minter, I'm surprised. I haven't really heard his name that much, but you would think. His only Super Bowls with a guy who's already in the Hall of Fame. It was a long time ago. All right, here we go. His only Super Bowl is with a guy who is already in the Hall of Fame. Oh, so wait a minute. Let me go back to what you just said here, Danavis. Allegedly, a team with a coach still reached out too. So the team that had a coach reached out to this guy who's his only Super Bowl is with a guy who's already in the Hall of Fame. The first person that comes to mind when I think about it, you're talking about the Super Bowl with a guy who is in the Hall of Fame. So you're talking about the player in the Hall of Fame who won a Super Bowl. I mean, that could be a million people, but the first one that comes to mind right off the bat is John Gruden. I mean, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, they're both in the Hall of Fame. Who else? Brian Billick. Remember, Ray Lewis is in the Hall of Fame. Rod Woodson. I would say Gruden. I would think that's probably the answer. Let's see. John is a horrible pick for the Giants because he ain't an offensive guy. Yeah, I know. He's more of a special teams guy, and you're right. The only reason why I said John Harbaugh is because of his credibility, and he'll give the Giants, right off the bat, a guy that will certainly, and that's the one thing, he's not good with the media either, but that's a guy that will give them instant credibility. So, Toppers, what do you got? You know what's fascinating about the Bills? That's an excellent point. See, the 4 Super Bowl losses, and that's the thing. The 4 Super Bowl losses, I know the first one hurts the most, and not to bring up bad memories for you, Toppers. The second one was 24-0 at the half with the Redskins at the time. And the Cowboys, forget about the first one. The second one, you guys had a lead. Weren't you up 13-6 at the half? And then the Thurman Thomas fumble, James Washington, and that turned the whole game around. This run here, yeah, I mean, this run is certainly, if you're a Bills fan, you got to be sick. Because, and this is, who knows? Here's the thing about the Bills that fascinates me. Would I be shocked if they lose to Jacksonville on Sunday? I would not. But something tells me if they win, I think they could go to Super Bowl. They could. I'm not saying they are going to. I'm not saying they will go. I think they could because twofold. Because they're a 6 seed, and I understand they have number 17. But think about this. In the years past, when they had playoff games in their building, and even though they had to go to Kansas City to play in 2 championship games over this, 4 or 5 year span, and then the year before that, they lost at home to Kansas City in the divisional round. But for all the success that they've had, and they haven't been able to get over that hump, where obviously there's no Mahomes, there's no Lamar Jackson, and even though they've beaten Lamar on 2 occasions in the playoffs, including last year, of course. Excuse me, Mr. Juice. Yeah, to me, because of where they're at, and even though Denver, New England, unproven, Jacksonville, obviously unproven, this is where Buffalo could really make a run here. And you mean to tell me if they win in Jacksonville, whether they win by 1 or by 30, you mean to tell me that they're not going to go into Denver and not win that game? I understand Denver's defense. I understand they have a bye, et cetera, and the Bill defense is not good. But if Josh Allen's going to put that red cape on and he's going to forget about the team, the organization, the entire city on his back just to win in Denver to get to the next game, he's going to do it. And do you trust Bo Nix in a big spot? I don't. I understand he's young. And last year, remember, they did play in the wild card round in Buffalo, where, if you recall, Bo Nix threw a bomb on the opening drive and was 7-0. You're thinking, whoa, all right, what's happening here? It's like, it's not get crazy, 7-0, whatever. And they ended up losing 31-7. So, and let's say they beat the Broncos, and I'm getting ahead of myself, but whomever is left standing after that, you mean to tell me that with all the gas in the tank and knowing that they don't have to go to Arrowhead and knowing that they don't have to face that monster Mahomes and, yeah, they got to go to New England to play Drake May, or maybe even, dare I say, Pittsburgh to play Aaron Rodgers? I mean, yeah, there's no way. But I could see them. I don't want to say I could see them losing. But would I be surprised they lose? I wouldn't on Sunday. But I understand what you're saying there, Toppers, because it's a situation where the 4 Super Bowls was a long time ago. And yes, I get it. They were all excruciating and really backwards, because the first one, it was just literally a swift kick to the groin. And then afterwards, it was just like a punch to the face, a body blow, and maybe another punch to the face. But this has just been almost like a slow death over the years, where you've gotten this close or you've fallen short by 1 or 2 plays. The Tyler Bass missed field goal in that game against Kansas City 2 years ago, which would have tied the game. Or the 13 seconds left in the divisional game against, that one was inexcusable. Watching that in real time, 13 seconds left, when they kicked it into the end zone, I said, what are you doing? You got to shorten that kick. You got to make him catch that sucker at the 5. Have 4 or 5 seconds come off the clock. Brutal. Giant fans want Harbaugh. McCarthy sometimes overthinks. He's all about offense. No, I agree with that, Zip, in that regard. And that's the thing. Who's going to be the defensive coordinator in the team? Because if they had a good defensive mind, I mean, think about what's happening in Denver with Vance Joseph. So Sean Payton can concentrate on the offense, and then he has a guy that just has total control of the defense. And I understand Peyton's got to check in. It's not as if he's just leaving the baby with him and all of a sudden it's like, all right, well, or maybe he is doing that. We don't know that. But you have to bring in a guy that is going to be not only reputable, but someone who's going to oversee the entire defensive operation, to where McCarthy could just solely focus on developing Jackson Dart, getting his players back from injury, a la Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterboo, whomever they're going to draft this offseason, and away you go. So you're right about that. But to me, who's your defensive coordinator? Because that will go a long way into wondering who or how good the Giants will be if he's a guy that has to operate both sides of the ball, quote unquote. And I had a feeling that was you. I did for some reason because I just saw the trees and I'm like, wait a minute. So, J-Rod, what's up, my man? Good to see you as always. That's why I don't care for holidays anymore because something bad always happens. I know. Why around the holidays? Why? Yeah, this is terrible. People are saying it was the Colts that reached out to. Oh, is that right? Oh, you're talking about Peyton Manning? People are saying it was because you mentioned Super Bowl MVP. Oh, not MVP. You said Super Bowl. A guy who was in the Hall of Fame and won a Super Bowl. Bio, yes, I know. Look at this. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. My Super Bowl pick. And I also want to talk about, if you guys want to throw this in the chat, please do so. What would be the best Super Bowl matchup? And what would be the worst? The worst I got to already tell you off the bat. And it doesn't matter because let's just say, and this would be, I would just be in stitches if this happened, but it's never going to happen. Could you imagine a Carolina-Jacksonville Super Bowl? It'd still get 100 million people. So everybody's going to watch. But that would be beyond comical. And the sad part is that they could play that game 2 a.m. on a Wednesday on the moon, and it would still get 100 million views or 100 million people to watch, which is bananas. Val, you're talking about WNBA, huh? Will they have it this season? Yeah, I know they're talking about CBA stuff. Yeah, they're going to have it. Could you imagine? Yeah, the Valkyries, Golden State. Yeah, I'll touch on this real quick. Yeah, I know they're going through their own CBA issues. Baseball's going to have theirs at the end of the year or by the end of the year. But here's the WNBA over the last few years. It's been heightened, bigger than it's ever been. And the WNBA has been around almost 30 years. And could you imagine if they go on strike or they don't have a season? Forget about it. I mean, nobody's going to take them seriously. And as it is, there's not a lot that do. I've warmed up to it over the last few years because of the women's college basketball and the players that have come on to the WNBA. But listen, I'm not watching WNBA games. I'm going to be honest. But I follow from afar and see what's happening and so on and so forth. And I know the Liberty won the championship, not this past year, the year before, but that's what you got there. I would rather be on the list of never winning a Super Bowl instead of being on the list of never making a Super Bowl, aka my Lions. Yeah, I mean, hopefully one day. I feel you, Jay. I mean, that's one that, that's one where if you're the Lions, if you're the Jaguars, if you're the Browns, and yeah, I mean, you just only hope that the day will come where you will be in a Super Bowl because the last thing, listen, you got to a conference championship 2 years ago. But, yeah, that's to be one of the handful of teams, and the Lions have been around forever. It's not like they're Jacksonville or the Texans. That's another team I forgot. It's not as if those teams have been around, 25, 30 years. The Lions go back almost the beginning of time. I believe the 30s, if I go back that far. Zip. You know what? That'd be a very good idea. If I'm John Mara, I call him up. I don't even know what he's doing ever since he got fired from the Raider job. Bio hit it on the head. Bio knows. Super Bowl pick is Eagles, Bills. Eagles repeat. Wow, you really think the Eagles are going to go back to a Super Bowl? Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah, when I finish the comments, I'm going to jump on the wildcard stuff and I'll get into the college football playoff. Yeah, by far. Panthers, Jaguars. Oh, geez. That would be, who knows what the rating will be. Listen, they'll still get a huge number of people because it is the Super Bowl, but man, that would be abominable. And then Bio says Rams, Broncos. You know what? I would have to say, I think the best Super Bowl will probably be Rams, Bills. Only because Josh Allen and the Bills trying to get to a Super Bowl. Haven't been to a Super Bowl since the 90s, as you know. Rams. I think that would be the best one. because even though I'm thinking like Seattle, I mean, even Seattle and the Bills and yeah, I mean, New England, I just, what is this? Worst Ohio State, best Michigan. Yes. We know you guys pledge your allegiance to. My fault that they lost conference championship, and I can live with that. Yeah, I think back to that game and watching that. Oh, man, Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, at the end of the first half, goes for a field goal. It was 21-7. He kicks a field goal at 24-7, which I totally understand. And there was people that thought he was going to go for it, and he didn't. He had the ball, I think, start of the no. I don't know if he had the ball start of the second half, but I remember he went for a 4th and 3 at about the Niner, maybe 32-yard line, and it was incomplete. And then, like 2 plays later, if you remember, that pass where I think it was Brandon Ayuk, it was tipped up, and he caught it at the 2-yard line or whatever. Maybe it was Jawan Jennings. No, I think it was Ayuk. And he caught it there, and that just turned the whole game around. And then he had the nerve to go for it again. I think it was in the fourth quarter, another 4th and 2 situation, or 4th and 5, I think it was. And he went for it again. Well, he could have kicked a field goal. And I believe that was like the 28-yard line or something like that, where it would have been, whatever, 45 yards. Yeah, I couldn't understand it. But, yeah, that's one that'll stick to your ribs forever. Oh. Rams-Bills games last season was awesome. Was that game in SoFi? No, that game was, wait, hold on a second. Bio, don't tell me. That game, because I remember the Rams, after they won the Super Bowl, they opened up with the Bills, and the Bills destroyed them. What was it, like 31-10, I think it was? And then, so that was 22, 24. Hold on a second. That game, well, that game was in LA. Now I remember it. Yeah, that game was in LA because I know the Rams last year, they went to Foxborough and they came here to play the Jets late in the year. I think it was in late December, if I'm not mistaken. But the funny thing is, the game off the top of my head, I don't recall what the score was. But no, I do remember them playing last year. Kyle would have picked the Steelers, but Rodgers too damn old. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll share my thoughts on the game in a minute. The day that game was played was my 40th birthday. Oh, geez, that is rough. Just like Super Bowl 30 was played on January 28th. Steelers-Cowboys, the third matchup. Imagine if the Pats won another Super Bowl, talking about a comeback. Oh, Zip, I'd be sick. I don't want them. Oh, to hear those Patriot fans, Bill Simmons and Dave Portnoy, and I talked about Portnoy, what was it, a few weeks ago here? Oh, I hope they don't win. I hope they lose to the Chargers. I don't think they're gonna, though. Bronco-Eagles rematch. That'd be interesting, yeah, because they played in the regular season, and the Eagles were, what was it? The Eagles were up, I think, 17-3, if I'm not mistaken. And then the Broncos won 18-7. No, it was 21-17. Yeah, I think it was 21-17. Because they kicked 5 field goals, and I think they got a touchdown late, and then they tried to go for the extra point. I think it got blocked. I forgot whatever it was. But no, I remember that. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Broncos-Eagles. My wife asked if I could choose for my birthday present a Michigan National Championship or Lions Super Bowl. Oh, yeah. No, we know the Wolverines are your team. Yes, very good bio. I remember that now. Yeah, that game was, that game was, I want to say it was like November-ish, second half of the year, if I'm not mistaken. I agree. Anybody but New England, I'm with you on that bio, big time. Giants-Ravens Super Bowl. Yeah, that game was a dud. Oh, yeah, not San Francisco. Sorry, Val. No, I do not want to see the Niners. And the funny thing about the Niners, I'll never forget, sorry to bring this up, Val. Dating back to that Super Bowl where John Harbaugh beat Jim Harbaugh, and that was tough because I did not want at the time, I don't like the Niners, can't stand them, and they were going for their 6th Super Bowl win. and they go up against the Ravens. And I wouldn't root for the Ravens at gunpoint. And that was a tough Super Bowl watch. That was a Beyonce game. And, of course, the power went out, and Jacoby Jones takes the kickoff and started the second half. But I think back to that game and how they lost. The phantom interference call of Michael Crabtree in the end zone, and Kaepernick had the ball first and goal. If you remember, at the end of that game, it was 34-31. And it was smart. They went for the touchdown. Why go for a tie? Why kick the field goal? To me, I thought Jim Harbaugh did the right thing by going for it there on fourth down. Go for the win there. And they're at the goal line. I mean, it's not as if they were it was 4th and 8 at the 29-yard line. Remember, the game was indoors. It was in New Orleans. But that was a terrible loss. Then think about the first Super Bowl against the Chiefs. What was that? Super Bowl 55, I think it was, or 54. They had a 20-10 lead in the fourth quarter. They intercepted Mahomes. And then on a 3rd and 15, down 20-10, what I think about 8 minutes ago, Mahomes completes that pass to Tyreek Hill down the field where Richard Sherman was swimming. I mean, he was just like this, flailing. And that turned the whole game around. Next thing you know, they put up 3 touchdowns, and they went 31-20. And not only that, but it was a scenario where at 24-20, I think a little bit more than 2 minutes to go in the game, Jimmy Garoppolo overthrew Emmanuel Sanders wide open in the end zone and overthrew him. And that would have been a touchdown, and they could have won the game. Probably wouldn't have, because there was enough time on the clock, and Mahomes side would have gone down the field and scored. But that was a tough loss. And do I even need to get into the game a couple of years ago where it was 3rd and 5, Brock Purdy, if he got a first down there, the game's over. And they didn't. They kicked the field goal. And then I believe the Chiefs went down the field, kicked the field goal to tie the game. Because at that time, what was the final score in that game? I think it was like 25-19. It was a weird score. Or maybe it was 28-22, something like that. But because of that stop on 3rd down, and that was the thing, if he would have just gotten the first down, they would have milked the clock, kicked the field goal, the game was over. But it didn't happen. What you got here, Val? Toppers, anyone but Denver. Yeah, I don't like Denver either. Dating back to the days of John Elway. Although I did root for them in Super Bowl 12 against Dallas. It's okay, 49ers are not making the Super Bowl. We have a lot of injured players. Ayuk never even played. No, he didn't. Good one, Val. Rams are a big rival? Absolutely. That Ravens 49ers Super Bowl is what brought Jim to Michigan. So thank you, Ravens. Yeah. Yeah, right after that. You're right. 49ers, what happened to Ayuk? Yeah, I guess he suffered that ACL injury, like week 6 or 7 last year? And this man has never been seen since. So who knows? All right, so let's get to it. Ready here? Couple of things. Wildcard weekend storylines. I'm going to tell you this. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The wildcard round, ever since they expanded to 7 teams in each conference, the games have been not bad, not awful. They've been putrid. Let's look back to last year. The first game you had last year in the wildcard round was Chargers at Texans. I think the Texans won, like 23-6 or 20-6? Justin Herbert threw 5 interceptions. Oh, maybe it was 4. 4 or 5 interceptions. He was off in the second half. That game, snooze fest. The night game, Pittsburgh at Baltimore. This is all you need to know about the game. At the half, Baltimore had over 300 yards of offense, and I believe almost 200 on the ground, and the Steelers had 60. Need I say more? The game Sunday, first game was Denver at Buffalo. We talked about that a little while ago. The bomb, 7-0. Whoa, Denver, hey. After that, it was game over, 31-7. Green Bay at Philly. Donavis, you know about this. That game was so nondescript, boring, and had no feel to the game. I mean, it was just, it was literally a tooth extraction. That game was bad. Now, they won, I think it was 20-12 was the score. But that game was, oh my goodness, it was terrible. Now, the Sunday night game was good. Washington at Tampa. That came down to the wire. I know Tampa had a big fumble there late in the game. But Jaden Daniels, that's when, not to bring up bad news there, J-Rod, the following week they won in Detroit. That was a good game. Wasn't great, but it was good. And then the Monday night game where Minnesota had to play the Rams, the game wasn't in LA because of the fires in the Pacific Palisades out in LA. As bio right in your backyard, pretty much. So they had to move the game to Arizona. And then what did Sam Darnold do? He spit the bit. 3 picks, 9 points. I think the final was a 24-9. Maybe it was 31-9, something along those lines. That game was over. So the wild card round has been pathetic. And let me even go to the year before that. Just when you think that, oh, come on, Jerry Rose, that's just 1 year. Come on, you can't be serious, can you? Yeah, I can be serious. NFL playoffs. The wild card rounds, and again, since they first started, here we go. No, that's not it. Oh, here we go. And this is not in any order. I should go in the order of these games, right? What was the first game that day? Oh, yeah, here we go. I got it in the order. First game, Cleveland in Houston. Remember, Cleveland was 12-5 with Joe Flacco. He threw back-to-back pick sixes, I believe, right before the half, turned the whole game around. Houston wins 45-14. The night game, the first one of its kind that was streamed on Peacock in Kansas City, where the temperature, I believe it was -7. It was the 4th coldest game in NFL history. And who do they play? The Dolphins, who traveled terribly in cold weather. 28-7 was the final. Was that 26? 26-7. Dolphins were never in the game. The following day, Philly, Tampa. Tampa blew their doors off. No, as a matter of fact, that was this Monday night game. So I skipped ahead here. That was the Monday night game after the weekend. That was when Jason Kelce retired. Please. And Philly, they were in that skid. Sorry, Donavis, bring up bad memories. They were 10-1, and then they lost, I think, 5 of the last 6, including that playoff game. Brutal game. Then you had Green Bay, Dallas. What was it? It was 20, I think it was 20-0. And then Dallas scored a touchdown, and then it was a pick six right before the half. Dak Prescott went the other way. It was 27-7, and they won 48-32. And at one point, it was 48-16. That game was over. Then Pittsburgh played in Buffalo. They played the day after because remember, they had a snowstorm in Buffalo, so they had to play the following day. It was a 4:30 game on Monday. I'll never forget it. And Mason Rudolph was the quarterback. Need I say more? Although they were competitive, they cut it to 1 score there in the 4th quarter, but they never had the ball possessed where they could go ahead and tie or maybe even take the lead. Never happened. The games have been just garbage. And the one great game, and here to bring good memories to you, J-Rod, where the Sunday night game was the Rams in Detroit, and bad memories for you, Bio, my apologies, where Stafford got beat up, but he was heroic in that game. And if I'm not mistaken, that was his first game back at Ford Field from the time he got traded to LA from Detroit. And he was just fantastic. And the Rams lost by a point. That was the best game. So it's funny, now that I think about it. So the last 2 years in the wild card round, the Sunday night game has been great. Or I would say it's been very good. It's been competitive. It's been good. It's watchable. All the other games have been atrocious. And I think I covered all the games, right? Or am I missing one? No, that's it. The games have been bad. And the Sunday night game is Chargers and Patriots. Who knows what the weather's going to be like come Sunday night. And here's the year before, just to wrap this up. Wild card round. Ready for this? Well, in this case, the Saturday night game, Chargers were up 27-0 in the half, and then the Jaguars came all the way back. They won 31-30, but if you remember, the Chargers were getting ready to kick the go-ahead field goal. Not as time expired. It may have been, I don't know, 30 seconds left, and they missed it. So that was the best game of the weekend. Here are the other games. Baltimore-Cincinnati. That was a Sunday night game where I think the game was tied, and then Tyler Huntley fumbled the ball, and they ran it all the way back. Was it Sam Hubbard that ran all the way back the other way? It was an okay game, but it wasn't great. Then you had Miami-Buffalo, which was a little bit more competitive than we thought. And actually, the Dolphins had a chance, but they fell short. Dallas at Tampa, that was the Monday night game, wild card game, and Dallas was destroyed. That was Tom Brady's last game ever. Seattle, San Francisco, that was actually competitive into the third quarter. And from what I remember in that game, Geno Smith had the ball deep in Niner territory, and I think he was scrambling. He fumbled the ball. They may have been down. I think they were down by 4. They fumbled the ball. It was like midway through the third quarter. And then 2 plays after that, Christian McCaffrey ran up the sidelines about 70 yards for a touchdown. The game was over. And then the Giants beat Minnesota. That was Daniel Jones. That was a good game. So you had better games. That's what, 3 years ago? That was 2023? You had better games 3 years ago. 2 years ago, awful. Last year, terrible. So what are we going to get this year? That's my first storyline. Now, to me, the storylines of this wildcard round, and should I go in particular order? Yeah, I should. I don't want to throw stuff off the top of my head, and that's that. Well, I mean, it is off the top of my head. I don't have it written down, but I'll get to the comments in a minute. To me, the 3 storylines of this weekend are, what do you expect out of New England, Jacksonville, and Chicago, the Bears? These are 3 teams that have not necessarily Lawrence, but they have young quarterbacks, inexperience. I know Lawrence has 2 games under his belt. He won that game against the Chargers, and then he lost the following week in Kansas City, which they also had a chance to – they were in the game, had a chance to take the lead, and they fumbled the ball out of bounds. Excuse me. But I think with those 3 teams, because those are the big question marks. People could say, well, Jay Reels without Aaron Rodgers could be his last playoff game. That, to me, yeah, it's a storyline, but that's not the top one. People want to see how Chicago's going to do with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. People want to see what's going to happen with New England. New England was 14-3 this year, and they were 2 seed. So, and people want to see what Drake May's going to do on the stage. Now, granted, it's against Herbert, and Herbert's another one. Now, they're playing against one another, Herbert and Drake May, but Herbert is 0-2 in his playoff games. So, to me, I think that's the first storyline, more so with the teams that you'd expect to win. New England, Jacksonville, Chicago, because I'm not expecting the Chargers to win that game. But I'm fascinated by those 3 scenarios there. So, to me, that's storyline number 1. Number 2 are the Eagles, because they're going to have the Niners coming in, and the Niners are going to play with house money because they scored 3 points in Seattle. They don't know if – I would think Trent Williams is going to come back this week, and they're going to need him. But which Eagle team is going to show up? Now, I don't think the juggernaut team is going to show up. Now, all of a sudden, Barkley's going to run for 150 yards, and Jalen Hurts is going to be 14 for 19 for 195 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't know if I'm going to see that either. But I'm very curious to see how the Eagles are going to respond, knowing that the regular season is over. They cruised to a division title. People thought, the Cowboys are nipping at the heels, and that never happened. And I'm curious, number 2, how they're going to respond. Another storyline, I guess it ties in with the Steeler game, the Texans. This team's won 9 in a row. Are they going to run the table? I don't think so. To a Super Bowl? Now, we know their defense is stout. We know that they are probably going to suffocate Aaron Rodgers. Who knows? Could be a long night. Could be. But now that the Texans are in the deep end of the pool, and it's not as if the game is in their building. Usually when the opening round, the wild card, they're the AFC South winner, and they have the game in their building, and they usually win. I talked about the Cleveland game, obviously the Chargers the last 2 years, but then the following game, that's it. They lost in Baltimore 2 years ago, and then last year on the road, they lost. Did they lose in Kansas City? I should know that. They lost in – it had to be Kansas City. I believe it was Kansas City. I'm drawing blanks here. But now they're on the road. But there are people – and C.J. Stroud, another young quarterback, you see tie into that. But he's had a few playoff games under his belt. He's played in 4 playoff games where Drake May, to a lesser degree, Lawrence, 2 games, but he hasn't been in the playoffs in a few years. And there's going to be some pressure, as well as Caleb Williams. So C.J. Stroud is not a part of that mix. And then you can say Aaron Rodgers, is this going to be it for him? Will the momentum and the magic of what happened there Sunday night, will that carry over to this game? Will the Steelers win a playoff game? Because that is the storyline. Steelers have not won a playoff game since they won in Kansas City 18-16 in the 2016 year. And the following week, they got waxed in New England. AFC Championship game to where, get ready for this, wide receiver Chris Hogan. Who? Chris Hogan had 9 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Do I even need to say anything else? Boy, the Steelers never beat the Patriots in a big spot. Never. Prior to Brady getting there, because they did beat him in the playoffs there in 97, 7-6, if you remember that. And the irony about that game, 97 in the divisional round, because the Steelers had a bye. They beat the Patriots 7-6. Cordell Stewart had a run in the first quarter up the left sideline, touchdown. That's all they did. They were terrible the rest of the game. But then the Patriots had the ball last, and they needed a field goal to win the game. And Drew Bledsoe, the quarterback, goes back, strip sack, recovered fumble, game over. Does anybody remember who that person got the strip sack? I don't think he got the recovery. He may have gotten it now that I think about it. But anybody want to take a guess as to who was the player that stripped, sacked Drew Bledsoe where the Steelers recovered and won the game? Get ready, because you're going to fall out of your seat when you hear who the person is. Mike Vrabel. He was a Pittsburgh Steeler, people, before he went to New England, and we all know the rest is history. As a matter of fact, you know what? I want to pull that up. If I could pull this up right now, just so I could show you, you guys will be like, no, Jay Reels, are you serious? Mike Vrabel, Drew Bledsoe. Yeah, and I'll plug in the, too, in Steelers playoff game. Yeah, I'll never forget it. And then the following week, if you remember, I do. All right, now I can be the one to bring up bad memories on my part. Yeah, here it is right here. 1990. Oh, it was the 98, right? But it was the 90. Oh, and this is on Reddit. They got this sucker on Reddit. All right, here we go, people. You ready for this? I'll share this with you guys and gals. I know I got to implement this a little bit more. And I know I've been reading your comments and following that up as opposed to like getting into all this other stuff. And I'll get into the college football. I may skip on the basketball. And I know, J-Rod, your Pistons, big game, beating the Knicks the other night. And the hockey, I know the Avalanche have lost 2 games in a row. And mind you, they haven't lost 2 games in a row in regulation all year. And they lost both games in Florida. So let me just throw that out there for you guys and gals. All right, here you go. Ready? I'm going to just load this up. Well, why can't I drag this now? I want to drag this. It's not dragging. Oh, there it is. Finally. It was lagging. All right, this isn't the best of. All right, here we go. Let me just share this. Just so you think I'm not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. You know me, I'm a kook, man. When it comes to my teams, and yeah, I know, share screen. Here it is. Share. All right, let me get myself in the low box here. There we go. And let's maximize this. Can I full screen?
And they're facing a quarterback.
Look at LaVon Kirkland. I actually interviewed him on my podcast. 7'6". What did I tell you less than a minute ago? This is in the playoffs, my guys. He's coming off the left side. That's him right there. Yeah, he didn't recover. It was that Jason Gilden, 96. Hopefully he turns around. You see the back of his jersey. Yep, Jason Gilden. Recovered the ball. And this is on Reddit. Oh, Dan Rooney, rest in peace. Hey, look at Robert Kraft. Wow. Look, Pete Carroll. Yeah, he was the coach.
Steelers team, the defense
Listen.
Comes up when they need him. Jason Gilden, number 92, working on one side. Mike Vrabel right there knocks it loose. Vrabel knocks it loose. Gilden gets it. Persistence.
What did I tell you, people?
Penetration. Definitely the arm was not going forward. Definitely a fumble.
And then they lost to Denver the next week. Oh, my God. That game was brutal. That Denver game. Oh, my God. Cordell. If you remember, let me stop. Did I stop sharing? Yeah, I want to stop playing. Yeah, the Steelers lost the following week to Denver. And that was, and when I saw that shot of LaVon Kirkland, I even asked him that play, if you remember, at the end of the game. It was 24-21. I know Bill Romanowski banging his head, Cordell throwing that pick in the end zone. Oh, my goodness. And at 24-21, it was deep in Bronco territory. It was a 3rd and 6. And if they would have stopped them there, Steelers had no timeouts, could have maybe tied the game. And what happened? Let's see if I can pull that up. Oh, my God. And then John Elway threw a pass to Shannon Sharp, and it was one of those written in the dirt, like just going into the seam, and I'm going to find you, and I'm going to throw the ball right there. Let's see. John Elway. I know you guys don't care about this, but John Elway. But I have to show you this. I'm getting nostalgic here. 3rd down completion to Shannon Sharp in the AFC Championship game. I know I'm typing in for days here. AFC Championship. Yeah, he saw him to get open. And it's funny, it says a famous 3rd down completion. I don't know if it was famous. I mean, of course, I remember because it happened to my team. Do I have a highlight here? I don't want to see I want to highlight. All right, I won't spend too much time on this. Let me see if I could get this. Oh, maybe it's here. No, they don't have the highlight here. Oh, is this it? Hold on. No, it's something else. Jeez. Hey, I just want to have some fun with you guys. And even though, listen, I've been the bearer of bad news for J-Rod and for Bio and Val, that, you know what? The least I could do is bring up some bad memories for yours truly. So we all got to share and suffer at the same time. Oh, wait, this could be it right here. Highlight. No, it's just Shannon Sharp talking about it, but not the highlight. Let me see. Show more. I'm going to find this sucker. Yeah, unless they have the game. They probably have the game. Hold on a second. Ready for this? I need one of those Steelers, Broncos, AFC Championship 97. And they were favored in that game. Yeah, here it is. Here's the whole game. Here. Oh, God. I was watching this today. Listen, it was a sunny day. It was 1 o'clock. That's what the championship game was at 1 o'clock. All right, here we go. Ready? 24-14. Yeah, I'm just scrolling all the way to the end. Oh, yes, here it is. It's right here. And I remember it was Ed McCaffrey. Yeah, that crowd was great. I missed Three Rivers. Yeah, they fumbled the ball, was deep in their territory. Oh, this is when McCaffrey. Hey, you want to watch this with me, guys? Oh, it was a 1st and 10. They had the McCaffrey ball. I remember that. Yeah, Myron Bell tackled him out. All right, here we go. Ready? Let's have some fun. Let me just suffer a little bit more. Hopefully, it's the only suffering I'll have here. Is this it? Yeah.
Clock anyway on the completion.
Oh, Dick Enberg.
Ed McCaffrey looks like when he gets hit, he just gets twisted.
Can you guys see that?
He makes the half throw, makes a good throw. Ed McCaffrey turns it upfield, trying to get those good yards. Tackled high. Myron Bell, the hitter.
All right, so this is the 2nd down play. Oh, no, that was the 1st down play. I should have forwarded a little bit to the second.
What he's trying to do is stay.
Yeah, this is, again, AFC Championship 97. So, again, I'm bringing some bad memories to me. And, yeah, that was Myron Bell, the safety there. Now, let's see. The second play, was it Terrell Davis? That's right. McCaffrey was out. Oh, man, I need to field this.
And the clock stopped. Wait a minute. No, they're working on that. Clock is going to start again, Dick. Because the official.
Yeah, that's Paul McGuire here in the background. Yeah, Elway's going up to the sideline. Let me see. I can't score this.
So he figures they'll wind it up, and either the Steelers will use one of their timeouts or.
Yeah, they're letting it run out to the 2-minute warning. Hold on. I got you guys. All right, here we go. I think this. Last 8 plays, 11 yards, no first downs. This is what the Steelers were. Come on, I want to share. Here it is, 3rd down and 6. It's coming up right now. Share, hurry up before I miss this up. Here it is. You see this? So it's 2-minute warning, 24-21. This is 3rd and 6. Look at this. Oh, God.
steals the catch.
That was the game.
Down at the 33-yard line. How did he come away with the ball? Timeout, Cower in Pittsburgh. It's a good catch by Shannon Sharp.
Now, the funny thing is, I don't remember how many timeouts the Steelers had.
Stays in the pocket.
I think Von Kirkland was right here. No, it was Jason Gilden. But I asked Kirkland about it. Look at this. Oh,
Jason Gilden right there. It should have been knocked down.
I know you guys would probably say, Jay Rios was happening 100 years ago. Get over it. But look at this. Look at this.
Number 41 makes the play, but look at this catch. I mean,
why was Gilden going for the tackle? He should have turned around and look for the play.
There have been times in this ball game, Phil, that we sat.
And that's when the Broncos went up to win their first Super Bowl, because that's 2 weeks after that, they went to San Diego. I didn't even watch that game, to be honest with you. I was so ticked off.
But I'll tell you something. This might have been the second one he threw right here.
Did I stop sharing it?
Well, let's remember, this is a man that in the summer game.
All right. Oh, I miss Enberg. Oh, this was such a brutal loss. Oh, my goodness gracious. And they had some bad ones, too. Nothing was worse, which I'm also thinking about putting up on the vlog, which will be the anniversary is a week from tomorrow, 31 years ago. The worst Steeler loss that I've ever watched in my life was the AFC Championship game in 1994. They lost to the Chargers. Anybody remember that? Bio, I'm sure you remember it. And I think J-Rod, let me see. J-Rod, you were what? 13? You probably remember that too. I mean, these are losses. They stay with you forever. All right, let me look at the comments here. Once that game, I was sad we lost it. Oh, the Chiefs, yes. Oh, it's right after you comment. Yes, of course, Val. I watched those 2 Super Bowls, still hurts. Oh, yeah. Which one hurt more, though? I would think the first Patriot one, the one in Jacksonville. Yeah, that was tough. But I mean, the Patriots were ahead. I know you cut it to 3, and then sailed to pick McNabb. Rodney Harrison picked it off to end the game. But the second one was worse because that game ended on a stupid penalty. What was that? On who was the corner? Was it James Bradbury? I forgot who it was in the game 2 years ago. And it was on Juju Smith-Schuster. That was bogus. They should have never drawn. And they didn't throw any flags in the game, but they decided to throw one there. Yeah, that was rough, though, the novice. I feel you on that. Duriel, what do you think the Texans are going to do in the playoffs? I mean, considering they're facing my team, I hope they don't do much. But to be objective, listen, I think their defense. Remember, Sunday night when Aaron Rodgers was making those throws, the Ravens have no pass rush. And I understand they blitzed. This team has pass rushers. Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson, they have an excellent corner in Derek Stingley. Yeah, they're going to be now, that could be a game. The first to 17 will win the game. Not even 20. First to 17, because it's not as if the Texan offense is a juggernaut. I know they have Nico Collins. That running game isn't great. So, and CJ Stroud, the Steelers got to get pressure on him. That's all there is to it. So, why did this drag over here? Looking at my screen. But no, seriously, I think the Texans, listen, I think they can win. I'm not going to predict to say they will win just yet. I think they can win. Now, if they win that game as a 5 seed, they're either going to go to Denver, or if Buffalo wins, they're going to go to New England. Provided that, of course, New England wins their game against the Chargers, because who knows? Could you imagine? You could have a situation. Think about this. You could have a scenario where if the Chargers end up beating somehow, some way, the Chargers beat the Patriots, and if the Texans beat Pittsburgh, that means, and this is really going to be crazy. Think about this. If the 5, 6, 7 seed all win this week, so that means if Houston wins in Pittsburgh, Buffalo wins in Jacksonville, and the Chargers win in New England, Houston will have a home game. Buffalo will go to Houston. because then the Chargers will go to Denver. So that is not out of the realm of possibility. And you're going to know by Monday night which teams advance. So let's just say, for argument's sake, I see Buffalo beating Jacksonville easily more so than the Chargers winning in Foxborough. But you never know. Strange things have happened. But let's just say chalk. Now Buffalo could win. So if Buffalo wins, that means you're probably going to New England. Let's just put it that way. I can see you winning in New England. Why not? And you could get to a championship game. I mean, listen, the franchise has never been to an AFC championship game. So, yeah, I could see them going to a championship game. I don't know if they can win 3 road games. Quite honestly, that'd be a tall order, especially for a young team like that hasn't gone that far in their franchise's history. So, I can see them winning 2 games. I think it will stop at the 3rd one. What do you think about that, Dario? They made a new Lions cake? Oh, for the Lions? Really? Randy Cross. Yes. And I love Randy Cross, too. I think he was really good. Oh, my God. Cal's going to bring us some bad memories. I already see it there. I'm a fan of Michigan sports teams. That comes with being a fan here. Heartbreak. Yeah, no doubt. Cal, of course. Nothing beats Tim Tebow overtime TD wild card. Tebow completes a 80-yard pass. And I was on the first play in overtime. And you know what's funny? DeNavis, I don't think we were together that day. That game I watched in a restaurant. And in fact, you know what it was? No, that's a lie. I started watching the game in a restaurant. Then I ran home. Shout out to Bronx Havana Cafe. Because I lived 4 blocks from the restaurant. And I think at halftime I went home. And Roethlisberger had a bum leg that game. He was heroic in that game. Oh, my God, he was so good. And, yeah, he was injured. He was immobile, but I'll never forget, there was one play in that game where he was right about at midfield. He was in Bronco territory. The snap went over his head. He had to literally peg leg his way to get to the ball, picked it up, and I don't know how the hell he did it, but in one fell swoop, he threw to Jericho Cotchery. It was maybe at the 10-yard line. I was just like, what else can this guy not do? Can I find that play real quick? Ben Roethlisberger, listen, and they lost this game, of course. And then I was watching the game at the bar, and then I went home, and I was watching it in my house. And then from there, because they were playing bad, I said, the hell with this. I'm going to go watch the rest of the game at the restaurant for superstitious reasons. And why did I do that? I go back, first play of overtime, game over. Oh, my God, that was awful. Yeah, Ike Taylor, Ryan Clark, that was terrible. Ben Roethlisberger throw to Jericho Cotchery in playoff game. I know, I'm bringing up all these like random plays. I don't even know if I'm going to get this. Oh, they probably have the game on here, but then Steelers Patriots. No, we don't want to see that. All right, I don't know if I'm going to be able to throw this here. Let's see. Steelers, Broncos. I hope you guys are enjoying this part of it because I'm sure you're probably like, Jerry, we don't care. Everybody's forgotten about this play. Nobody remembers the play. Nobody remembers the game. Nobody remembers this. Well, they remember the game because obviously Tebow. Steelers, Broncos, 2011 wild card. There it is. I got to have the game on YouTube. Yeah, here it is. But to find that Cotchery play, and I'm only going to spend all day trying to. Yeah, I know it was in the second half. That I remember. And it was in the fourth quarter. And look, and they were down 20-6 in the game. I remember that. Hold on. Yeah, they tied the game. I think they were going for the tying score. Is this it right here? No, Broncos have the ball. All right, hold on. I'm going to find this sucker, people. I'm going to find it. I promise you. I promise you. Yeah, because the final was 29-23. All right, this one, they have the ball. Uh-oh, here we go. I think this could be it right here. I may have found it. God, I miss Roethlisberger. God, I miss him so much. It's man. Of course, I got rooting for Aaron Rodgers here. Wait, hold on a second. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna get this. I promise. Another 30 seconds. If not, I'll find this and maybe I'll save it for next week. Oh, this could be it right here. No, I remember it was shotgun. 2nd and 1. No, that's a run. Maybe it's right after this. Oh no, this is a big run. All right, yeah, this isn't it. All right, how many seconds I have left? I want to find this play. I'm on a mission, people. Isaac Redmond, remember him? Jeez. Oh, this could be it right here. Is this it, please? I may have found it. No, it was a high snap. Oh, jeez, that wasn't it. All right, I'll get off this. So anyway, sorry if I bored you to pieces with this. But yeah, so I remember that game well, Cal. I remember it well. Michigan also had one. Yes, they did. Well, they 14-0 now, I believe, right? No, bio, yes. Natron means business. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that game. I want to put that up on a vlog. I am. That's if anything, I got to start working on that because that'll be for next week, and I'll intersperse the clips. Steelers had no business losing that game. AFC Championship game '94. And here's a true story. All right, I'm gonna clue you in. You're gonna watch it. You're gonna be like, J Reel's already said this, but the week before, Miami was playing in San Diego, and the Steelers had beaten the Browns in their opening round game, and they had a bye, of course. And if you recall, I was rooting for the Chargers hard. I didn't want to see the Dolphins because I didn't want Marino going back to Pittsburgh, and it would have been pomp and circumstance. Watch Miami go into Pittsburgh and win and then go to the Super Bowl, and I would have been crushed. As it was, a football god says, hey, hold my beer. I got one even better for you because San Diego, they never played well on the road as far as cold weather. And toward the end of that game, that playoff game, Miami-San Diego, Pete Stoyanovich missed a field goal. It may have been wide right, and I'll never forget what I said. When he missed that, I said, we're going to go to the Super Bowl because San Diego's going to come east. It's going to be freezing cold. We're going to, just think about the Freezer Bowl against Cincinnati. What was it, 14 years prior to that? And I just thought, I said, holy shit, we're going to go to Super Bowl. But that day in Pittsburgh was it wasn't cold. It was a mild, cloudy, rainy day. In fact, I believe the game time temperature of that AFC Championship game was 55 degrees for mid-January. And right there, I thought to myself, I said, that's not good because the Chargers could play in that. And the Chargers won that game, if you recall, on 2 plays. The Alfred Papunu play, which was a draw, and he got past the secondary, and when he scored a touchdown, he opened it, drank it like a beer. And then the Tim McKyer play, Stan Humphries, where Tim McKyer, the defensive back of the Steelers, and it was Tony Martin who caught the ball. And then Neil O'Donnell marching down the field and had 1st and goal. And then I think it was Dennis Gibson who O'Donnell tried to throw it to Barry Foster, and he got swatted. Oh my God, that was the worst loss I ever watched. It wasn't as bad as I understand that's an AFC Championship game is supposed to a Super Bowl. And yes, I know losing to the Cowboys in Super Bowl 30 the year later, where their motto was 3 more yards. And how about that AFC Championship game in 95? That was one of the great ones. And it's not great as far as like all-time classic, and I'm saying it as a Steelers fan, but the twists and turns of that game, oh my goodness. I know I'm boring you guys to tears with this. I'll stop. I'll move on. This is what happens. Cal opened up the can of worms with the Steelers. Texas versus Seahawks is my Super Bowl pick. Sorry, Jay. Nah, hey, listen. I don't know. I'm concerned about all this pub, and rightfully so. They deserve all the credit in the world, but I could see Seattle. I don't know, man. Darnold. If Rams, 49ers, and Packers win, Rams will play at home against San Francisco. Yes, you're right. So that's that 5-6-7 scenario like we're talking about in the AFC. You're right, Bio. Ooh, Randy. Ooh, how would you feel about that? It's a bakery in Rochester. Oh, is that right? Now, it's funny you say Rochester. There's a Rochester, New York, but I'm sure Rochester, Michigan. How far is that from you, Fishing Angel? I'm curious. 2011 sudden death OT was the new rules for overtime. Yes, it was. Well, yes, it was. It was the new rules in a sense where if the first team who got the ball scored a touchdown, the game was over. But let's just say if Denver kicked a field goal, the Steelers would have gotten the ball there. You're right about that, Cal. Excellent. Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh, look at that. That's got to be cool. Esco. I hope you're still here. What time is it? 1:28? Oh, yeah, it was 7 minutes ago. I hope you're still here, Esco. I'm good. Welcome back, man. I appreciate you hopping on board. I really do. Your mic is not working properly? Am I too hot? Maybe because I'm swallowing the mic. That's why. I don't know, guys. How are you hearing me? I'm sure you guys would have given me a heads up to be like, hey, you're sounding too loud or you're coming in hot. Esco, what about now? Let me know if, I hope it wasn't distorted this whole time. Lions, Dallas, the pass interference flag that was thrown, picked up. Yeah, I remember that. That was what? When was that game? 2018? I know Matthew Stafford was still there. Yeah, I remember that game. Well, that was a rough loss, too. I remember that. It was a Saturday night game. Wild card. I'm not really a big fan of Ben Roethlisberger because of the off-the-field issues. I'm not a Steelers fan. No, I hear you. Yeah, and off-the-field stuff, I mean, listen. And I'll be real. The first one he had, well, what made it even worse was that Sports Illustrated article. I don't know if you remember that. It was on the cover and everything, how he just acted like an entitled moron. All the success he had early on. And remember, after they won the Super Bowl, he's driving around Pittsburgh without a helmet on. He crashed his motorcycle. He could have killed himself. Then he had the one incident down in, I think it was in Georgia, where they went to some bar. I think it was he, Willie Colon, maybe Max Starks. I know he was close with Colon. And I don't think Marquise Pouncey was there at the time because I know he was great friends with him. But yeah, then he's, come on, what is he doing with these girls in these bars and in the bathroom? And I mean, that was alleged. And then in Vegas, he had a situation with another girl in a hotel room. I mean, no, it was awful. And this was before a lot of it became an issue where when you hear about a player doing that, obviously ever since Ray Rice, when the video came out, that's when forget about it. Anybody that does anything, domestic violence or against a woman's will, anything like that, that's it. You're toast. You're done. Just think of Trevor Bauer. And Bauer wasn't even criminally convicted. And, I mean, where's this man? I don't think he's pitching in Japan anymore, but that just goes to show you how different it was. And that was what, between the years of, let's say, 2005 to 2014, because the Ray Rice thing was 2014. After that, forget about it. All bets are off. You believe in their defense. No, yeah, the Texan defense is no joke. That I agree with you. Hour and 20 minutes. Okay. So that's with a bakery, Rochester. I'm sure it's probably worth it. Oh, here we go, Bio. What you got? Steelers in 90. Yeah, Super Bowl past the end. I remember. Oh, I watched that. Yep. Well, no, not only were we leading at halftime, we were leading 19-17 going into the fourth quarter. And I was 10 years old. And I remember watching. The game was on CBS. The year before, I was watching Cowboys Steelers. That was on NBC. And I'll never forget that day. I don't know why I remember this, but that day was like a cloudy, rainy day. My mom took me to Burger King before the game. And yeah, I remember eating Burger King, like watching the game. And in the following year, and that was interesting because that year I watched the game in my bedroom. But then the next year when in the Super Bowl, I watched it in the living room. I got the color TV, not the black and white. But they were losing 19-17, Vince Ferragamo. And I remember it well. And the two big plays, the touchdown to Stallworth, the bomb over Rod Perry, the defensive back, and then there was another bomb that Bradshaw threw to Stallworth, and then I believe that was when Franco ran it in. I believe it's I should know that. But yeah, no, I remember that game well. 10 years old. I was going to turn 11 that March. Oh, thanks, Kyle. Yeah, I don't know, Esco. Don't know what's up with my audio on your end. They were the first team to sort of have home field advantage of those in Pasadena. Right. And that is a good trick question because the first team to host a Super Bowl in their stadium were the Buccaneers. And then the funny thing is, ironically, the following year was at SoFi with the Rams. But Also, a close second to that. Now, the Rams were the first. A close second to that was the Niners playing in Palo Alto. Super Bowl, what was that? 19? Yeah, it was 19, I believe. Where Marino, no, hold on. 15, 16, 17. Maybe that was 16. Marino, I think it was 16. Yeah, Super Bowl 15 was 80. No, hold on a second. I got my years all mixed up. Super Bowl 14 was the Steeler Ram. Following year was Oakland, Philadelphia. Year after that, 17 was Miami, Washington. 18 was LA Raiders in Washington. So it was 19. It was 19. Where Miami played San Francisco, Marino's only Super Bowl, and that was in Palo Alto. Well, obviously it wasn't in Candlestick, but it was not too far from the Bay Area. Good one, Bio. Well, thanks, Jay. Yeah, because I don't know. I'm sure you guys would have told me a while ago, like, hey, your audio sucks. When the Rams won the Super Bowl at SoFi, the Rams lost to Pittsburgh, came back full circle to them winning the Super Bowl. Yes, it did. Bio, did you go to that game? I'm curious. Or did you try to get in? I'm sure you tried your damnedest to get in that building. Well, yeah, I'm curious. Where were you that day of the Super Bowl? Did you watch it at home? Did you have people come over? Did you go try to get to the game? Did you tailgate? I'd like to know that. I agree, sir. Crime towards women. Wood chippers. Where they should. Oh, wood chipper. Yes, a brutal fate. All right, let me quickly talk about this before I sign off. College football storylines. And there are a few. We know about Indiana. What I like about this Final Four is you have the number one team, and you would think for when you look at the seedings, is it a cakewalk to a championship? Then you have Oregon, who's looking to avenge their loss to Indiana earlier this year in Eugene. You have Miami, who's a 10th seed, and they have visions of the old Hurricane teams with the swag back in the day. And then you have Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin leaving and how that bus is going down the highway to a national title game. How I look at it is, Miami, do they have the wherewithal to slow down that Ole Miss offense? I think they do, but are they going to be able to match points? I mean, they're going to have to turn Trinidad Chambliss over, I think, in order for them to win the game. Because if it's a clean game, no turnovers, I mean, are the Hurricanes going to have enough? Is Carson Beck, what's Carson Beck you're going to get also? And, of course, they're going to have to pound the rock. They want to keep that offense on the sideline. So, yeah, to me, that's a storyline in that game. And then Oregon and Indiana, I think there's not pressure on Indiana, I think, to win. But I will say this. If Oregon has a lead in the second half, but a good lead, not a 3-point lead, 7, all right, this is the scenario I would love to see. Oregon scores. It's now, there she goes. Oregon scores. It's now, let's say it's 20-10. Better yet would be 23-10. So Indiana needs 2 touchdowns, not a touchdown and a field goal, not a touchdown, 2-point conversion and a field goal. I'd like to see 23-10. 3 minutes to go, third quarter. How do the Hoosiers respond? That's what I want to see. I don't want to see them down by 3 with 3 minutes to go and have 2 timeouts. Yeah, that'd be theater. But we would think and expect them to deliver at that time. I want to see some pressure on them. Better yet, I want to see them down by 13 with 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. To me, that would really be like, fasten your seatbelts. Let's see what's going to happen here. And, Oregon, I'm sure if you're Dan Lanning, and I'm not a fan of his, but I would be, and I'm sure he has, but since the matchup was official, I would be hammering home, guys, nobody's picking us. Indiana, they're undefeated. Indiana, they have a cakewalk. We're nobody. We shouldn't even be here. to do whatever it takes. And what's going to be even more fascinating is you could possibly have the first two players picked, Fernando Mendoza and the Oregon quarterback, Dante Moore. And you mean to tell me that Dante Moore is not going to have a little chip on his shoulder knowing that, hey, I understand he won the Heisman, but guess what? If I win this game to get us to a national championship, and let's say win the national championship, he could keep the Heisman. I'm going to a title. So, and who knows, maybe Lanning's already planted that seed in his head. So that game is fascinating also. And that game is Friday. But to me, Miami, I don't know. Could they match wits offensively against Ole Miss? Because Ole Miss is going to put up points. And even if Miami defense is good, let's say that could be a thing, I don't know, first to 20. But it's not even first to 20 because let's say if it's 20-6 at the half and Ole Miss is winning, game's over. Because unless Miami makes the biggest adjustment of all time where they put Warren Sapp, Ray Lewis, Michael Barrow, you name it, in a Fountain of Youth time capsule and bring them back, they're not going to win that game. Not in the least. Cortez Kennedy, I mean, come on, the list goes on and on and on. But I hope they're two good games. I hope they're not duds. I don't think they will be. Although I could see Ole Miss, maybe you get 13-10 at the half, and then Miami is a turnover, and then Ole Miss converts that to a TD, and then it's a 3-and-out, and then Ole Miss gets a TD, and it's 27-10 before you know it. And then that's when Carson Beck throws an untimely pick. I mean, that could get ugly in a hurry. So we shall see. Let's see what we got here with comments. And then what I'll do is, let me see. Oh, I got 14 minutes before I sign off. All right, here we go. Bio, no, I stayed home, watched it by myself. All right, I was too nervous watching anyone. I had the Super Bowl lost to New England for 20. Yeah, and that was a tough game too. Jared Goff, ugh. Sad thing is the guys that do stuff like that in sports usually don't go to jail or prison because as soon as it comes out, you commit a crime against someone, right, and your kids. Yeah, no, I know. You get a lot of that. Sadly, yeah. Unwritten rules, if you will. I've seen them own eyes many times. Yeah, there's many instances of that. Countless. You're right about that, Jay. Indiana's natty to lose. I agree with you there. It's theirs if they want it bad enough, in my opinion. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Fishing Angel, thank you. You know, I appreciate you. Oregon is down to a linebacker taking snaps. Smegma 59. Yikes. Funny name. I'll give you that. I'm looking at your picture profile. Oregon is down a linebacker taking snaps at running back. Is that true? Who is the player? I'm curious. Yes, I will, Fishing Angel. Absolutely. Smegma. I like USC and San Diego State, but I pull for all West Coast teams when they don't play any team from the outside the region. I hear you. I'd root for them too. Yes, you too, Fishing Angel. Have a great day. To you and your family. And of course, your other half is here with us. Support West Coast football. I got you. West Coast. Hey, I can't disagree with you on that, even though I live on the East Coast. But listen, I'll wherever you're on the West Coast, I'd rather you be south of San Francisco. Because, and Bio, what's the temperature today? Well, the weather's good here in New York and today and tomorrow, and it's actually going to be in the 40s throughout the rest of the week. But although there may be some rain and snow over the weekend, which I don't like, but yeah, I'll take West Coast weather right now. Well, I'll take being out on the West Coast at this very moment. East Coast, East Coast. Nah, I hear you. Where the last two national championships came from, that would be the East Coast and the Big Ten. Yes, they have. Now, the crazy thing is, could you imagine this, Jay? The Big Ten can win a third one, but it may not be Indiana. It could be Oregon. Could you imagine that? And they just got to the Big Ten. Love to see Miami get blown out. Miami will never be the same level as USC. Were you talking about all time? If you're talking all time, you know what would have been a great game? Oh my! I understand you can't do this, but just for grins and giggles, imagine the 01 Hurricanes playing against the 04 USC team. Remember, the 05 team lost to Texas. I mean, I think the best. Now, I understand they may not be the best. Let me make sure I say this correctly. I understand Nebraska's three teams in the 90s that won 3 straight. Tommy Frazier, Lawrence Phillips, those guys. And you had of course, the Miami teams. To me, I think the best team as far as talent. And you could argue because they were undefeated and they won the national championship too. And it destroyed, who did they destroy that? I think it was Nebraska, if I'm not mistaken, in 01. That 01 Hurricane team was loaded. I mean, and they didn't even have a quarterback. The quarterback was Ken Dorsey. When you have Brian McKinney, Clinton Portis, Willis McGahee, Andre Johnson, Ed Reed, Sean Taylor. I mean, Jeremy Shockey. I mean, come on. That was an NFL team. So, Smegma, I don't know. That team, maybe against the 04, and I got to go to the route with it. Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush. Who are the guys defensively off the top of my head? What's it called, the defense on that time? Kenichi Edozie, the lineman. No, I think he was. No, maybe before that. But yeah, that 01 Hurricane team, Philip Buchanan, who wasn't really a good pro. Mike Rumpf, Niner, he wasn't really a good pro either. But I mean, that team was, come on. I mean, think about it. Andre Johnson's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Ed Reed's a Hall of Famer. Bryant McKinney was a great lineman. He's not a Hall of Famer, though. Or is he? No, I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame. Shockey was very good. Not a Hall of Famer, though. Portis was a very good running back, as you know. Willis McGahee bounced around, but he had that terrible knee injury the following year against Ohio State. I mean, that team was great. Yeah, SoCal definitely is. No doubt. No, and USC has more accolades, absolutely. You're going back, tailback you. Charles White, OJ. No, 100%. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Yeah, talking about as a program as a whole. No, I mean, USC has, come on. Listen, I'm not going to dispute that. To me, Miami, their reign was 83 to 01. That was it. But during that time, they won 4 championships. But right, you're talking about program as a whole. No, you can't compare. I mean, USC goes back a zillion years. Never on the same year as USC. Did USC ever make a playoff? Yeah, USC has not made a playoff yet. So that, you're right. Okay. No, you're talking about a university on a whole. I can understand that. How many Heisman's Miami got? Yeah, I know. No, I get that. But you can't dispute that. Oh, I mean, listen. We're talking about during that time. And we can go through all the players. Jerome Brown, Cortez Kennedy, Michael Irvin, Ray Lewis, Warren Sapp. I know I'm missing a ton of other players. The aforementioned players on the 01 team. Who else you have? Miami. Jeez. No, listen, I'm not going to say how many Heisman or how many national titles. Well, they have 4. And they did that during an 18-year period. 83, 87, 91, 01. Right? First one was Stellenberger, then Jimmy, Dennis Erickson, and was it Butch Davis at that last one? I think it was Butch Davis, wasn't it? No. I should know who got that last one. No, listen, and USC, without question, I'm not going to here to dispute that. Who cares about Heisman trophies, individual and championships? But listen, you got to admit, Smegma, that Miami had their run. And they were great. Oh, yeah, Jerome Brown, I mentioned. Now I'm thinking back at the team, the 86 team. That Vinny. Vinny was a good quarterback in pros. He wasn't an all-timer. Yeah, Irvin, Randall Hill. I mean, he wasn't great either. Cardinals, Arizona. I know I'm missing. There's a ton of other players I'm missing also. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Miami either. Listen, that 01 team was loaded. Love to see Oregon. Absolutely. Yeah, same here, Jay. I'm not. Win a natty. Yeah, let's see what they do it. Smegma. Listen, I'm not disputing USC and what they've done. But no, it has been a long time since Pete Carroll. To think that's 20 years. So it's been a while. What's this? LOL, my bad, dude. I'm just being a hater. Oh, all right. Nah, it's all good. Nah, you know me. I'm not going to. This is business, not personal. Sports business. Yeah, no, Jay's I am not what I eat. You cut him open, he's bleeding blue and maize. Shout out to the East Coast, Northeast, all corners of the nation. I hear you, Smegma. Nah, and welcome aboard, man. This is your first time. I'm here every Wednesday. I also do a podcast pregame, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I know you're on the West Coast. Maybe a little bit too early, unless you're getting it for work. Not for real. That 0-1 team was nasty. Nah, no doubt. No doubt. You're not wrong, though. West Coast is loaded. 9 times out of 10, the top recruits come from the, yeah. Either there or the South, Southeast, or Texas. And you have some Northeast, but you're talking Pennsylvania, some in New Jersey, but yeah, not as loaded as the South or out West, that's for sure. So, yeah, I think that's a good way to, that's what I think I would. Yeah, exactly. Cut yourself open. That would be the case, 100%. All right, guys, I am going to get ready to sign off here. I want to keep on going, but yeah, I want to eat. And I also got a couple of things I want to do. I also want to post this vlog that I was telling you about earlier. I want to post that hopefully in the 3 o'clock hour. So you'll get to see that. And I got a lot more coming down the pike. So definitely stay tuned for that. Stay tuned to the channel. And Smegma, I know you being a hater, but if you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate you do so. I talk sports. Sports is my, listen, cut myself open. I got everything bouncing out. Pucks, basketballs, footballs, golf balls, you name it. So if you haven't done so, in the podcast pregame, as I mentioned just a minute ago, also the podcast coming at you, I put up a podcast twice a week, Monday and Thursday. I will preview. I know I wanted to preview, but I was going through your comments. But tomorrow on the podcast, more storylines with the NFL, college football. I'll preview the semifinal games, the wild card games as well, and whatever's happening in the NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball. Oh, one last thing. Can I say this before I sign off? This is for you, Bio, and I have it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where? Here it is. 5 weeks, people, from today. Pitchers and catchers report. And have there been any talks between Rob Manfred and the head of the Players Union, Tony Clark? Anything? A smoke signal? A text? Western Union? I mean, come on. Are we really waiting for a whole season to go by, or maybe during spring training where Rob Manfred will have a meeting and, oh, yeah, the conversation was good, but no, we're still miles away? No. I don't want to be teased. I'd rather be like, oh, it's not going to happen, guys. You have to wait till 2028 for the season to not 2027, 2028. Or, yeah, we're in talks, and you know what? Things are starting to pick up. Can we get something? Any of these baseball writers, the Bob Nightingales, the Ken Rosenthal's, come on. Can we get to work? Am I going to have to be a guy that's going to have to go out there and start looking? Maybe I should do that. I'll be like the Pablo Torre and try to find out what's happening. But anyway, pitchers and catchers, 5 weeks from today. You know I'll be looking forward to it, although my team will spare you that, and we'll talk about that some other time. Yes, Cal, peace to you, my man. Jay, good day to you. For those out there, you already know. I appreciate your support. Much love always. As another podcast, pregame, all that's coming down the pike. Monday night, you know I'll be live, direct, and in full effect when it comes to Texans Steelers. As always, much appreciate your support, love. I'd said that already. I know no movement in LB. No, exactly. Cow, it's a disaster. That's all there is to it. But as I sign off thanks for all stopping by. From the South Bronx, South Beach, South Central, South Pacific, and all points beyond. Peace, love, and God bless everybody. It's in the blood, in the veins, in my DNA when it comes to talking sports. You'll hear more about that tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your hump day. Obviously, maybe we'll cross paths tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And until then, everybody, on the flip. I appreciate you all. Much love.